the shade, but we still got some,
If you guys get a chance.
we did the tourist thing.
Fulton, South Dakota, of all places, the grain elevator.
You're on here.
They got this little boy with his backside on the east side. It's a full grain elevator. Then on the west side, it's the little girl. You see her face. Then on the north side, they got three cowboy hats. A guy from Australia came and
Yes.
painted it, right?
Yep,
I mean, it's nice.
it's very impressive.
Very nice. That's quite it. Are we there? 9 o'clock?
Not quite, no.
2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes. Wait, a couple more stories. Make them quick, though.
You don't really have.
There's certain things we say from the Christmas party, and that's, you know,
Yeah.
I recorded it.
Yeah. I've been pleasantly pleased with the little bit of rain that we've had now, and finally that chip sealing dust has settled down. Oh man, I've been fighting that all. It's got to get better before it gets worse, right? Or it's got to get worse before it gets better. Ooh, you walked back up. Morning, Luke. Morning. Are you awake? Our finance zoning meeting, we did well, right? We were done at 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
That was good.
yeah, well, because of you.
I was sitting there, Luke's doing the lights off. I could
Okay,
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is 9 a.m. Welcome to the September 18th Cottington County weekly Cottington County Commission Board meeting. We'll open the meeting with Pledge of Allegiance. And Charlie, you want to lead it this morning?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Charlie. A couple of housekeeping things. If you have a cell phone, please silence it or turn it off. If you do get a call that you need to take, please step out in the rotunda area and take it so you don't disrupt those that are speaking at that particular time. Also, is there anyone in the audience this morning that wishes to address the commission that is not on the agenda? That is not on the agenda. If you do, we want to certainly allow time for you during the open. I see none. The other thing that I think we need to start adding to our agenda is there any items on the agenda that would be a conflict of interest for any of our commissioners? Is there any interest? I would ask our parliamentarian that's here, Luke, should we just add that on our agenda now, like we have before?
It would be probably wise just to ask at the front end.
Yeah, just, okay, we do that,
Handle it at
Cindy?
the meeting, or you can
Yeah.
handle it as it comes up, or just as on the front end, it's easier to handle it on the front end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody has any conflict of interest of any of the items on here, they can speak up and we can evaluate that. So thank you. What did I forget?
Being streamed.
There has been
Streamed
a
live.
request for a executive session at the end of the meeting, and that would be in reference to contract number 4, contract negotiations.
streaming,
So that being said,
streaming live.
yeah, okay, yeah, that is, thank you, Brenda. This meeting is being streamed live, so if you wish to address the board anytime you get in front of that camera, you will be streamed live, so everybody will be watching you. So if you want to check your hair before you come forward, you might want to do that.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Yeah. All right, we have a motion to approve the agenda by Brenda, second by Commissioner Waterman. Gable. Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries. Let's go on then. And
Move
let's,
to approve the minutes as emailed.
Second.
Motion by Hatton, a second by Van Duzen. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, let's go on to number 4 on the agenda, and that is at, well, it's 9 o'clock. We are just a couple minutes after, so public meeting, Cudahy County 5-year highway and bridge improvement plan. Rick, what you got for us? I think I got the old one here.
It's pretty much like the old one, it just, some stuff got pushed back farther,
Okay.
but everything that was on there that got done were like the epoxy bridges.
Yep.
There was 3 of those. We're working on the pole barn, trying to get that figured out. There was another bridge added to be replaced, but other than that, everything was pretty much, if it didn't happen this year, it just got moved back a year, so.
The bridge that was added is the one down on,
No, I think that one was still on.
okay.
Yep.
You added another one to that. Okay.
You're talking about the one in the southeast part of the county?
Yep. That one was on already. I didn't know if that's the one he was referring to.
Yeah, and that one was scheduled for 2022, but it depends on how the money goes.
But the big
I see.
grants
Yeah,
and the,
big grant, that's,
This one that I had is not dated, that I see is, do you have the updated one right now?
That is whatever you received from me.
That is the updated one?
yeah,
Yeah,
that should be
that is the
updated.
All right, okay, so then we're good to go.
Yeah.
I wonder, should we, maybe we should, I was gonna say, should we put a date on them so we know where we're at?
Well, it will
This is the
once-
prescribed form from First District, so I'm assuming
it will get dated once it gets
we
approved.
have other paperwork that goes with that will be dated.
Yeah.
Okay,
And at this time, you need to open it up to the public for
Yep.
input.
yep. So, that being said, at this time, and Rich, just stay here, will you?
Yep.
In case there are some questions, we will open it up to the public for public input. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the commission board in reference to this item? Any comments from anyone? This has to do with your bridges, culverts, roads, 5-year county highway and bridge improvement plan. I don't see anyone, so at this time I'll close the public hearing, all right? And that being said,
There is no action
There's
needed
no action,
today.
no?
October 2nd, you will take action to adopt the resolution.
all right, very good, thank you, Rick.
Chairman, just a quick
Yes, sir.
question. You mentioned one bridge being added, Rick.
I
was-
don't have the number with me because all my stuff is piled in a box that I
That's
can't
what,
find.
my question was just how far, so is that added to the far end of the timeline?
In the tail
No,
end.
Yeah,
It's a little further than that, or.
a little closer in than that.
Because
Okay.
Where's that bridge located geographically?
14th Avenue,
14th, at the bottom of the,
yeah, just north.
Yeah.
Oh, that one, okay. Okay,
yep,
Yes.
all right, okay.
okay, very good.
While you're sitting there yet, Rick, you want to give them a little update on the project
Maybe do.
that we're working on in the highway department as far as the,
We can do his report.
We have a report here coming up,
Okay.
Harvey. We'll catch it then. Let's go on at 9:15, and we're a little bit early, but,
We can't do it because it is also a public meeting,
All right.
public hearing. We could do the
we'll do
Borkus
we'll do
edition
the
plat.
Borkus plat, number 6. Go on then to number 6, and, Luke, that's you. And there is in your
Copy right
packet
here.
a
Commissioners. Thank
It is
you.
also on the screen.
This is the plat of El Borcas Edition. Oh, it is up there. Good news. Plat of El Borcas Edition in Government Lot 4, Section 7, Township 11754. If you don't have your plat book memorized, that's Richland Township. This is neighborhood I'm from. We reference this from being just off of the Medicine Lake Road. Others may call it the Tinkertown Road. This is south of Medicine Lake, about 2 miles. Larry Borcas was granted an existing farmstead exemption. He owns the south half of 2 sections, sections 7 and 8 in Richland Township. And so it was one of those where he met the qualifications for an existing farmstead exemption and transferred that 5-acre building right over to this site. They had a windmill, and actually there's some discussion as to whether or not it may have been a school site or whatnot in the past. Really didn't make a ton of difference because it did qualify for the farmstead exemption. He did plat it as 5 acres. It is a very simple square at the top of the hill. They're going to move a house that was a part of the farmstead over to that spot as opposed to being right up in the yard, so they don't have to stare at each other every day.
And the Planning and Zoning Board did approve it unanimously at, not last night, but the meeting
the month
prior to
before.
that.
I'll make a motion to approve
Motion by
that.
Hatton to
Second.
approve, a second by Gable. Any discussion?
It looks like that's just west of McKilligan's. Is that right?
It is, yep,
Okay.
on the county road there.
Any other discussion? Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you, Luke.
Thanks, Luke.
All right.
We can do number 7.
Yeah, let's do number 7, recognition of the employees' years in service, employees' memorial recognition, and safety awards. We were at the state convention this past week. That's why we didn't have a meeting last week. And several of our departments and people here received awards, and the city has them all. You got them gathered up.
The first one we have is Years of Service Award. The association recognizes employees with 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50 plus years of service. This year we had 4 employees meet milestones. Alan Bank is a highway motor grader operator, and he has had 25 years of experience with the highway. Rick Hartley is at 30 years of employment with the County Highway Department.
He must have started when he was 12.
Peggy Rammel is the Veterans Service Secretary. She has had 25 years of service. And our Victims Assistant Jan Steele has 30 years of service, and they all will receive a certificate. We also recognize former employees and employees who have worked for the county who have died in the last year. This year we recognize Charles Chuck Shamans. He was a sheriff for Cottington County. And we also recognize Tom Sauer, who was the Memorial Park Campground manager. And then we have the safety awards, which Cottington County Highway Department received the gold level for safety and loss control recognition. The Cottington County Maintenance Department also received the gold level award this year.
And that's the second highest. If you like,
Correct.
it goes incrementally: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum.
Platinum is the highest.
So you've done very well.
Congratulations. I think we can give those
Let's give
folks a round
everybody
of
a hand.
applause.
Congratulations to all of our employees and to the commission.
Mr. Chairman, just one note on those safety awards. That helps with the insurance premiums, does it
Correct.
not? So
It,
that's a
we
really
get a-
good thing.
We get a refund on our insurance premium, or a credit applied to our insurance premium. So yes, due to department heads who take an active role in promoting safety and putting on demonstrations, it's a benefit to the county.
Okay, any questions, any other comments? Again, congratulations to all of those people.
We can do number 10
Yeah,
also.
number 10 is action to approve the auditor's account with the treasurer and register of deeds. Go ahead, Cindy.
This is a report of the cash and cash items on hand as of the last day of August 2018. Shows you the amounts that we have that pass through the county to go to the schools, townships, the cities and towns for tax collections that we made. And then we also note the Register of Deeds fees in the month of August were $40,350.50.
Move to approve the account with the
Motion by
treasurer.
Hatton, second by Gable. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any questions? Seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you. All right.
Let's do number 12.
All right, we'll do number 12 then. Action to declare property surplus for sale, and there's a insert in your packet which lists, there's some from the Extension Center and some from the Weed Department.
And we are having a surplus auction this Saturday with the city. Is that correct, Rick?
Yes.
Yep, with the city of Watertown. The Extension Office would like several items declared surplus: an Epson LCD projector, an RCA camcorder, and an ITT phone. Those are kind of immaterial items. We also have several large items that we need to declare surplus to be sold. We have a 1979 International truck in the Weed Department, a 1990 GMC truck in the Weed Department, 2008 Yamaha ATV from the Weed Department, a 1992 IHC distributor truck for the Highway Department, 2001 International truck at the Highway Department, along with the Cristeel dump box for that truck. We have a 1992 Chevy Lumina van from the park, 1991 S10 Chevy pickup for the park, 2005 Ford F-150, 2000 Ford F-150 at the Highway Department, a Tampo steel self-propelled roller from the Highway Department, and then a 2000 Triton trailer for the Search and Rescue Department. We just need action to declare those items surplus to be sold on the sale.
You've heard the number of items.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Gable,
Second.
second by Van Duzen. Any discussion? Any discussion? That's a week from, that's next
This
Saturday.
This Saturday.
Next Saturday.
That auction's going to be held at the Extension Building?
Correct.
Ag Building?
It'll be out in the parking lot probably.
Well, this-
Is there, I know last time we had one of the requests that I had from an individual that bought quite a bit of stuff said, would there be a forklift out there to help load the stuff? Is that, you don't know about anything now?
Not gonna have anything, it's the liability,
Oh, okay,
many people around.
all right.
Well, Mr. Chairman, did anybody know that, will this include some of the older furniture that's in the basement? It's not tracked on any books, it's just some older furniture that's from the courthouse. Is this, or is this just this stuff at the auction?
No, there'll be other miscellaneous smaller items that
Yeah.
do not need action
Okay.
per
Yeah,
se.
That's, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. All right, now I think that the time has come where we can go back to item
Correct.
number 5. Item number 5 is a public hearing and action on liquor license application transfer. And in your packet is the information you need for this item. Everybody find it? There's about 2-3 pages, I think. Something like that, 3 pages. So the first thing that we need to do, we need to have a public hearing in reference to this item. So at this time, we will open up the floor for any public input. And this is in reference to this liquor license transfer. Is there any comment, any input? Bob or Brenda, you? Okay,
What this liquor license is transfer. The Country Road Barn LLC has purchased the liquor license from Rawville Station. So what we are doing at this time is holding a public hearing to approve that transfer and the board would approve that license. and then we will send it on to the state for the rest of the checks and balances.
Any other comments from the audience? Seeing none, how about the board? Any comments from the board, any questions? The question that I would have is that transfer, was it September 24th? Does that mean that Brownville will no longer, they will not hold the license, and I don't know, will they close? I don't.
Well, Rockville has sold their license to the Betkers.
Yeah.
The Betkers will not, this will not become active until the state
Sure.
takes action on it on their end.
But
But Rockville has sold it, so they
don't have one.
They should not be operating at this time.
Oh, they sell food.
Till Sunday.
24th,
The 24th, yeah.
because that's the closing.
That's the closing. All right, okay,
But they, if you see
Okay.
that they're open, they still could have a restaurant open. and be
correct.
serving food.
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Chair?
Yes, sir.
If I could have the Betkers, one or both of you, please come forth and just give us the plan again for this liquor license. I know what you're doing, and I remember that whole, the whole passing of that. But can you just tell everybody that's listening what your plan is out there?
We're building a big event barn for weddings. We'll be open a few days a week to the public. The liquor license is just they're a part of it.
Okay.
That's basically it.
And receptions, like wedding
Yep,
receptions
wedding
and that sort of thing?
receptions, actual weddings, any kind of event.
Okay. That's all the questions I had.
Any other questions? The only question that I have is I can't read any of these signatures.
That's why they're notarized.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Or the notary, yeah, it looks like something just flew over and kind of tried to land there. Any other questions? Anything else? Seeing none, I've got a motion.
Do you have to close the
Oh, I
public
have to
hearing?
close the public hearing. I thought I did. We'll close the public hearing. Thank you. Public hearing is closed. I thought I did that before. Open it up for.
I'll make a motion to approve this
We have a
transfer.
motion by Hatton to
Second.
approve, a second by Van Dusen. Now, is there any more questions? Anything, any more comments, any more questions? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The transfer has occurred. Thank you, folks, and good luck.
Yeah, I second. Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
bet. Let's go on then to the auditor's report. Item number 8A. In your packet is the information.
We did attend, I did attend conference last week. It was a good conference. There was a lot of good information put out. Right now, we are basically waiting on some tax requests that have to be in by October 1st before I can start processing tax levies for taxes payable in 2019. October 1st is the deadline for the schools, the townships, and the cities to provide me with their tax requests, so I'm waiting on a few of those. The other thing that we've got going is this Friday, September 21st, is the first day for absentee voting, early voting for the general election. So we are ready for that. We have a number that have to be mailed out on that day per federal law. The only thing that I would suggest to voters is, and we hear this a lot, they're in the building, they'll stop into the office and they'll say, I was here, I thought I'd vote and get it over with. Well, hopefully, if you're going to vote and get it over with, you've studied the issues, you've studied the candidates. So please don't come in unprepared. We'd really like you to look at a sample ballot first, because we cannot give you any information on what's on that ballot. We cannot give you a referral. We cannot say what this candidate is running for or anything like that. We need to remain impartial. So we do have sample ballots available in the office. We also have a pamphlet that gives you the pros and cons on each ballot issue that's on the ballot for 2018. And voters also can go to the South Dakota Secretary of State's website, and there is a VIP portal. It's voter information portal, and you can put in your name and some private information. I believe it's your birth date, and you can actually pull up on a computer what your sample ballot would look like. So while we encourage voting, we also encourage informed voters. And we
Okay.
are still working on getting voters to work at the polls. So anybody who's considering being an election precinct worker, we would really appreciate to hear from you soon because we need to get those lists compiled, and we are still short a few workers.
Which areas are you short?
Just various areas around town.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll depend on the person's political party because that's how I'm required to appoint those precinct workers.
Okay, any other questions for Cindy? All right then, let's go on to Shauna, Director of Equalization. She's all refreshed after moving into the new area and getting adjusted to
So
where
it's tough.
where all the
Show
filing
stuff.
cabinets are.
It's a good court.
Say court.
Okay, so we are finally, good morning. We're finally starting to get back into a routine after moving. We have to say a huge thanks to Milo and his maintenance employees. The 3 of his employees basically single-handedly moved us with all of our help, of course, but they really had to carry a lot of heavy stuff, and we call them almost every day for little things that need to be done. But they worked with us very well, and we can't really say thanks enough to them guys. But as for what we're doing with work, we are taking applications for the flooded farmland and the riparian buffer strip. Right now, we have 1 application for the riparian buffer strip. They had applied last year too. The riparian buffer strip deadline, I had thought it was November 1st, but it's actually October 15th.
Okay.
But I know that letters have been sent to everyone that would qualify. Roger Foote had sent all those out, so they should be well informed, so hopefully they'll start coming
Was
in.
that date included in that letter? I didn't see the letter.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Said October 15th.
October 15th.
How about the
And
flooded
the
farmland or the
farmland is
wetland?
November 1st.
Okay.
And then,
And the press caught that, right?
Ah.
You bet. Everybody's shaking their head. That's good.
we generally send out PSAs. I might have to call Roger Foote then because we didn't really send out a PSA because we figured everybody got letters. So I might just call him and find out if he's got that date in there. Otherwise, we can just send something over to the paper and radio stations about that.
Good.
And then we just continue with our reappraisal work and getting the sales and stuff in. Our year end is coming. November 1 is basically our year end, and then we have like 3-4 months to get everything done and out, and we start over again. So there we are.
Any questions for Shauna?
Just a comment, Mr. Chairman, just for the public to know what Shauna was talking about, the move at the beginning. So now all the county offices are on this floor of the courthouse, which is kind of nice. So all your county errands can be done on this floor, and then the clerk of courts is now on the ground floor. Because I know some folks come in and they're used to the things being located in a certain place. So that's what's going on. So if you have to go to the clerk of courts, go to the ground floor. If you need to go to the director of equalization, that's up on the main floor, the rotunda floor.
I had a chance to look in your old digs this morning, and they're putting the ventilation in there now so we can have a basketball game down there.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's big,
I didn't
isn't it?
realize. Yeah, with all
Yeah.
the walls and stuff down, it's going to be pretty when it's done. It really
Yeah,
is.
it'll be nice. All right, thank you
Shauna,
much.
thanks for your patience and
Yep.
your staff too during this whole
Thank
transition.
everybody
It's
for
not
their help.
easy.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it'll work. We're
Yeah.
good.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
All
Shauna.
right, Milo's not here, so let's go ahead with Rick, Highway Department. Again, good morning, Rick. Now you're going to get your question answered, Harley. And at the same time, I think we're going to do 9 while he's here, and that's the pole building bid. So we'll take the report and then we'll do the building, all right?
I have it.
Yeah, okay. That'd be in the bottom, right?
Yep, absolutely. Well, I'll start off with the construction at the shop. They came last Monday and took the ceiling, the lights out, the ceiling out, and yesterday they came and started putting the grid back in. And hopefully, as we speak, the furnace man is there working on the ducts, because tomorrow the electrician's supposed to come and put the lights in. They didn't get all the grid work done yesterday. They should get it done hopefully by noon today. So that can all go back together, and it'd be nice to move back in next week, because like I said, I've got stuff piled in boxes that I have no idea where it's at. And Lori will be coming up this afternoon to put her computer up. We'll bring her computer up to put in here so she can do some stuff up here, because we don't have internet service other than what's in our office. So we're limited. I took my computer home and plugged it in there. I was going to print some stuff off last night, and then I ran out of ink, and that didn't happen. So, and I don't know where the other stuff is. So, but hopefully next week we should be back in, and then we can start on the next phase 2 of that project. So, and I guess the rest, we started hauling some gravel when we had time. Our epoxy bridges, the 3 of them were done, and they came in $16,562.80 under the bid. So we got a little back on that. We tore the old building down in the north yard so the new building can go up. Like Myron had mentioned, brooming has started. We're almost done with that, because next Monday, the rumble strip for the 2 miles on County Road 65 from 11 over to 13, they're going to do that next Monday. We've been working on some bridges that we had to work on from our assessment this summer. The guys have been pouring some cement under some abutments. The water came up. When they did the assessments, the water was down, and this time of year, why the water has came up, I have no idea, but the guys were working in that. We also are getting ready for the sale. They're moving stuff around, and we've got a bunch of piddly stuff that was in that old building that has been there for years that needed to get rid of it. Some of it got taken to iron and metal, some of it would be sold. Also, Myron had mentioned that we started our fall mowing yesterday. So the guys will be working on that. There's 3 mowers out doing the whole county, and it takes a month to 6 weeks to do, so hopefully the snow will stay away until we're done. So, but that's pretty much it right now. So,
Okay.
We're not going to have snow till December.
we're not going to have any at all.
Rick, what was that amount again? 16,000?
Ice fishing starts December 1st.
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
That's kind of nice to get something come in under bid that much. That helps.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. All right. No more questions for Rick? Let's go on then to the pole building. We'll open a bid. Open the bid, Cindy tells me, and watch the award.
That's the way it came.
Okay.
It was supposed to be marked on the outside, and it was supposed to be sealed, but that is the way it arrived.
Just the one bid?
The one bid.
And this was from Morton Building. And the building, we found out through the contractors that the building was going to be 6,000 square feet. And we were going to have a sign shop inside the building, which was 792 square feet. If we went that size, we needed a firewall inside the building. So this bid may not be complete, because I had proposed the size of the building inside the building. I have to make it over 1,000, or it has to be over 1,000 square feet. So I need to add to that. Because otherwise, I don't want a firewall inside my storage building because it just defeats the purpose of my storage building. So it has to be from 22 feet wide to 46 feet long. It's going from 22 by 36, now it'll be 22 by 46.
All right, that being said, the appropriate thing that we have to do is just postpone this because
Yep.
Well, no, you've advertised, and this is the way you've advertised, to take a bid in this manner. If this is not the correct way, you're gonna have to start over from square one.
Yeah, and I'll have to go through this to see
Yeah, so
if
then
they,
this bid will need to be looked at, recorded, and then you can take action to reject it because,
we have to reject this bid today.
well, you should to move the project along.
The alternative would be to accept this bid and go for a change order.
but I'm not sure, because like the building inside, they told us that it had to be sheetrocked, both sides of the wall and the ceiling. And I don't know if that's in here or not, you know, so. And then
I think the probably
Reject
the
it.
safest is to reject the bid and just start over.
Can I make that motion?
Well,
We probably should record the bid that was received and how much it
Yeah.
was
Okay.
first.
All right,
And it did look like there was a bid bond enclosed, that first page there.
yes,
Okay. Morton Buildings is out of Watertown.
yeah.
I hope you other commissioners noted that Commissioner Waterman said that word, a change order.
Change order? Well, Mr. Chairman, we are getting on towards the fall, and
Yeah.
construction season will go away.
That's right.
Yes.
As Rick is looking for the numbers here, just as a side note, Luke mentioned last night that how many new houses we have building permits for in Cottington County and the rural, Cottington County, 32 or something like that?
I was estimating that we will be, still be
Boy,
above like.
I saw you look through it. I
We've
don't,
been in the past.
And normally we have 9 or 8 or 9 or 10, somewhere in that neighborhood.
19.
Did you say
19.
We're probably gonna be 25.
with a dollar.
up by 30% this year?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Which is good, very good. And we've had some pretty good size facilities built, so those numbers are pretty good. Two pretty good sized projects.
We'll probably see more once that Terex facility comes
Building
into
number
town.
one, specifications.
Hopefully they stay in town, though, the houses.
Yeah.
More likely they will be in town, yeah.
See, that was just the.
Alternate.
Few people would see what they're looking at, it's real fine print. So,
That's
I
surprising.
don't see a bid.
That would surprise me from Morton if they wouldn't make that very clear.
Additional alternate,
See, that was just-
2415.
that was
Oh,
just
wait,
the building.
here we go. Okay,
Oh.
total estimated project cost. Okay, they didn't add
by the way,
this
this
up.
was in the budget.
What was the budgeted amount?
220.
Okay.
$202,045. And they did
The,
include an alternate for an overhead door in the amount of $2,415. But let me double check these numbers just for
Fire
accuracy.
marshal didn't get a hold of you yesterday?
Yeah. I had proposed to put the walk-in door and an overhead door to go in this inside building. But with the fire code I'd have to get a 2-hour retention door for both of those. And those would be really expensive, so I'll have to change it so the smaller doors, you can go in from the outside.
So-
As long as they came from the outside, it was fine.
So, Mr. Chairman, just, so you're talking about, this is a change to the spec, to the bid
Yes.
specs? Okay,
Yeah.
so, and you're fairly confident that this bid does not include that?
Yeah, and I'm not,
Okay.
Total
Right.
bid is $202,045. This building proposal is good for 7 days from the date specified on the cover letter, which was September 17th. So this bid is good through September 24th. If you're fairly certain that it does not
I'm not-
cover what
I'm-
we need,
I'm not sure if it does with the sheetrock on the inside. I don't know if they had,
Perhaps, Mr. Chairman, maybe it'd be good to postpone it a few days. Well, I realize it, so it's 7
Maybe
days from
till
now, so we'd
next
have to accept it. Yeah, that's kind of a
well,
short time.
you may have to negotiate that
yeah, because
7 days
I'm
with
not
them
sure if
because
that's
we,
in there.
yeah, we have to have time to review the bid for
Yeah.
accuracy and what we
But-
need, so
Since the bidder
we
went to
can
the,
postpone the award until next Tuesday.
But then it's only good till the 24th, which is
Well,
Monday.
I mean, we did not ask for that in the
normally we ask
bid
for 30
specs.
days. We put
That's
30
just-
days in our.
Yeah,
bid-
that's
our-
their-
our
That's,
notices.
those are their terms. If
Right.
they don't want to honor this, then
Yeah, it is, yeah. Well, I think we need, but given the fact that the bidder went to the trouble to put together the bid, perhaps we, just to ensure that that does not meet the new specs, maybe it does, and so that.
And I'm not
We need a motion then to
Yeah.
postpone?
yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, we have a motion to postpone it until next
I'll second that.
Tuesday. We have a second by Hanton. Any more discussion? In the meantime, you'll get those all straightened out, and it's been quite an education, right, Rick?
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Well, thank you for all the footwork, and that's all part of it. Any more discussion?
You have the envelope, okay.
Anything else? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All same side. Motion carries. We are postponing it for 1 week. All right. Anything else for Rick? Any other questions? Any concerns? Any comments? Seeing none, thank you, Rick. I'll let you go back to work.
Thanks, Rick.
We're going to number 11, and that's action to authorize the chair to sign the pod grant contract with the Department of Health. And I see Mr. Sutton is here, and you might just brief us so everybody knows what we're talking about when we're talking about the pod grant.
Through the Department of Health, they passed funding down to the county level for the operation of the point of dispensing plan. It's a mass vaccination plan that we have, and we exercise that plan. And this year and then last year, we exercised the plan by doing a flu shot clinic, for school children. And this year, we're doing the same thing on October 2nd. We're having a flu shot clinic, and we're doing all children up to age 18, and then college students with an identification card. Well, to pay for this expense, the Department of Health has funds, and they pass those funds down to us here at the county level, and then we hold those funds in an account here at Cottington County, and as the expenses are paid, we pay for those expenses from that fund. And this year, we're scheduled to get $7,500 from the state, and this is the same contract that we signed 2 years ago when we received funding 2 years ago. So that kind of explains what's going on with that.
All right,
Make
yeah,
a
the
motion
Just-
to.
Can I just want to have a question. Rick, or Jim, did we decide if we are the consultant or if someone else should sign that? So are we authorizing the chair to sign?
We're authorizing the chair to sign that.
Okay.
It's on that back page
Okay,
there.
I just didn't know if we had decided. And
It was confusing, and
It
that's the
is.
reason
Are we
I
the
held up
consultant?
before,
Correct.
because I just didn't quite understand that until I talked to Gary.
And we currently have a little over $2,000 in pod grant funds on hand, and this grant is up to $7,500.
Make a motion to
We have a motion
approve
by
the chair
Hatton.
to
Second.
sign.
Second by Gable, any discussion?
That's what I was going to say, how much typically does it, I suppose each year is different depending on the number of
I think
students.
2 years ago when we received, I think it was $6,000, and this year I believe the $7,500. But it pays for the pod expenses, but it also pays for the contractor that we pay to administer the pod plan, update it, and exercise that plan.
Okay, any more questions for Jim?
Okay.
Any more?
All right.
Seeing none, all in
Just-
favor
just-
indicate by saying aye.
Just a-
I just had one question for Jim.
All right, shoot,
On the
quick.
generator.
Well, let's finish this one up first.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Now we'll ask a question on the generator.
The update on generator. Through all of our work, we've determined that the foot valve in the bottom of the fuel line that's in the bottom of the tank is bad. And the contractor that's doing the work has ordered a new foot valve, but he's ran into some problems getting one. We're kind of in a holding pattern until he does get one, but the problem being with the big tanks now is that in the past we had this foot valve and the pump was up at a higher level and we suck fuel from that tank. Well, the new tanks, the pump is down inside the tank and it pushes the fuel up to the generator. So they don't use that foot valve anymore. They use the pump inside the tank. So
I bet you Mahold's got one down there somewhere.
yeah, they probably do. They've got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
60% off.
Yeah. We're working on that, Charlie, and we're going to have it fixed as soon as we can get that foot valve situation addressed. So,
Because when I stopped by that day, we were wondering about that,
yeah.
tightening that up a little bit.
Yep, and then the reason we discovered this foot valve is, as you know, that we have that barrel in there with the additional fuel if we need it, and we have a hose in there that's hooked into the line. Well, we had the generator up and running, everything was fine, and then we left the valve open going down to the tank. Well, that line should be full of fuel. Well, when we left the line open and I was checking on it, and 2 days later, we had siphoned about 5 gallons of fuel out of that barrel that siphoned back down into the below ground tank. So that's telling us that valve isn't shutting off.
Can we change over to a new style?
That will be researched if we can't get that foot valve. Yes, we can look at that, but can't answer that right now until I find out if we can get that new foot valve. If we can, that's going to be the cheapest by far for the county.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Jim.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Back to the pod. There was a news release. I don't know, Troy, if you want to say it was your news release, but the information will be given to the schools and
That information was actually sent out to the schools already, and I think it was the 12th that we sent that out. The 17th it went out to the news media.
What was the date of the pod?
October 2nd.
October 2nd.
From 4 to 7 p.m. It's going to be at the Watertown High School. And so the school districts and the outlying schools also have all that information for all the students. So it's going to be a big event.
consent forms also can be obtained from the schools or the community health office. You will
Correct.
need to have consent forms completed before you,
For any of the students that are under the age of 18, they have to have a parent's consent form when they come to get their shot.
And along with the media release that went out, those consent forms and vaccination immunization statements also went out with that. So they should receive all three of those at the same time.
And we'll be doing vaccinations at Clark and Willow Lake, at Henry, Florence, South Shore, Waverly South Shore, and then also down in Hamlin County.
oh, so you'll have several of these pod. Okay.
Great. We've got some traveling teams that are going out, and then, but the larger event will be at the Watertown High School, and then Lake Area Technical Institute will be doing some shots for college students over there.
So at those other areas, will that be on different dates?
No, that's all
All
on the same day,
date.
October 2nd.
Okay.
There will be traveling teams that go to those schools. Like Jim just said, Lake Area Tech is hosting their own pod, and Mount Marty College, National American University will be attending the pod that we're hosting at the same time as Watertown schools.
All right, thank you for taking the lead on that, Jim. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, we're going
See ya
to
at noon.
take a
LEPC.
jump here, and the gentlemen have been so kind that we got quite a group of people here for number 15, and that's actually to approve the Hall Road Agreement. So let's go to that, item number 15. Action to approve a Hall Road Agreement. Who wishes to, Rick, you want to start out with this, or Becky, or which one of you? All right, come on. Yeah, come on on, Rick.
Todd and Luke.
And Luke?
Todd.
Todd? Any? You want to flip a coin?
We'll wait to see what Rick says.
All right.
Going to defer to Rick.
All right, go ahead, Rick.
I recommend that we sign the Hall Road agreement, and,
The final version.
yes.
And that is the one that's included in your packet. And has everyone had a chance to read it?
Yes.
Okay, would you tell me what's on page 28?
There is no page 28. I'll tell you that.
That's good.
There's appendixes, but there's no 28.
Okay, you've heard a recommendation from the Highway Department. We'll get a motion here, and then we'll open it up for discussion.
I'll make that motion that we
So, a
approve this
motion
Hall Road
by,
Agreement.
Commissioner Hatton, a second by Gable. All right, we will, and that is to approve this final Hall Road Agreement. And let's open it up for discussion. And Todd?
Todd Kays, Executive Director of the First Planning District. Also, the First District provides zoning services for the county. And as many of you are aware, at a previous conditional use hearing, the county's Board of Adjustment required that the applicant for that wind permit had to have a Hall Road agreement. And most of you are aware that over the last month or so, there's been negotiations back and forth with the wind company, with Rick, with Becky. Myron asked our office just to take a look at the most recent reiteration of what was going on, and Luke and myself reviewed it. No, we're not providing any legal advice, but just more on content. And we in turn provided that information back to Becky and Rick. It was then forwarded to the wind company. They incorporated the comments that your staff had recommended and had provided that back to you. So based upon that, Becky, I think we are in agreement with the form and the substance of the Hall Road Agreement.
Okay. Any comments from Mark, from you guys? All right. Becky, any comment?
No, it's recommended anytime.
Okay. And Luke, you all right?
Yeah, I'll be okay.
Okay. Just checking on you, make sure you're okay. Any other comments? This is our discussion period. Any discussion from the board? It is a rather lengthy document, and actually I have read it, and I didn't read it in one setting. I'll tell you that much. I took a chunk at a time, and I appreciate all the effort that went into doing this. I very much appreciated it. Took a lot longer than I would have liked to have it, but hopefully we got an instrument here that is very, very workable, and it covers everything, and I think the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and I suppose somewhere along the line we will run into some situation, but we'll deal with that. You know, we got a lot of stuff covered here. I think that we ought to, if anyone has any requests, we ought to auction this baby off. No, we won't do that. All right, any more discussion?
Just
Any
that I
comments?
know that there was a lot of areas that you guys looked at really close, and there was some discussion at one of our commission meetings about some of the concerns that we had with the last one, and you guys have addressed those, and I think that you did a good job of coming to an agreement on this. So thanks for your work on that.
Good, thank you. All right, any more discussion? Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We do now have a haul road agreement. There we go.
Thank you for everyone's hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thanks
your
for your
patience.
patience.
Appreciate that very much. All right, let's go back then to number 13. And Milo was not here, but I think you did get an email with the information that you wish to share with us in reference to providing services now when normally the park is closed. And what are the thoughts of the commission? Any pushback? Any thoughts? Charlie?
Mr. Chairman, Milo and I had a conversation as per phone call, and his deal is that, we do have to pick a day, and my feelings are the same, and October 1st or September 30th of September. Even though we might have nice weather after that, we've got to winterize the park, and it's done much more in an efficient manner when the weather's a little warmer rather than when it's a lot colder.
Okay.
I had a conversation also with Milo, and there are more things that go on that you really need to have someone there, rather than just to have it open and unattended during part of that time. So I guess for this year anyways, I would say maybe more thought can go into it into the future, but for this year and the way the circumstances fall, I would say to stick with his recommendation to close it on the 30th.
Commissioner Van Dusen?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Commissioner Waterman and I have spoken about this as Milo as well, but I think that's an appropriate date. It gives him a little more time.
Commissioner Gable?
Yeah, I agree.
I think we don't have to vote on it, do we? We just have a consensus
This
here?
is a discussion and action.
Well, I think if we were to change something, we would have action.
Right, but you're
since
not
we're
changing
doing
No, we're
anything-
not changing anything.
So-
No.
So it's a consensus of the board that.
Yep. Okay, good.
September
Then,
30th.
we are in consensus that the park will close on October 1st. Is that the date?
September 30th.
September 30th.
Will be the last day.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Very good. And they've experienced a very, very good year out there. They've had a good year. Charlie?
Just one more thing that's not on the agenda, and Milo's not here to mention it, but on his behalf and his wife's behalf, the Cub Scouts were out there on a camping trip over the weekend, had a very good time. Milo and his wife both went overboard and with hospitality towards the Cub Scouts.
Good.
I would echo,
Which was
yeah.
much appreciated.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Milo and Carol have done an outstanding job this summer out at the park, and yes, they do deserve recognition for their efforts.
And I wanted to make sure that they got that. Mr. Paperman, yeah.
And, yeah, tag on to that. And that, we can do that. Tag on to that is the fact that we want to promote, get out and buy a tree for the park. It's a good program, and you get your name on, you'll be recognized for your efforts, and I think Milo said the best bang for your buck is if you go through the Watertown Community Foundation and buy next spring bare root trees. You get a better, get more trees for your buck by doing that. They're a lot less when you buy them bare root, and they will grow. They're good, so keep that up. All right. Let's go on then to number 14, action to propose receive for public defender services. So what do we have, Cindy? How many proposals?
I received 3 proposals.
Okay.
Which I just opened. And I'll announce those. All right, so we received a proposal from Green Roby Oviatt LLP. Their proposal is for the secondary public defender contract, January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2022. In January of 2019, they proposed $68,400 for the year. They increased it in 2020 to 70,800. In 2021, 73,200. And in 2022, 75,600.
Cindy, when you say secondary, can you explain that?
The secondary, we have a primary contract and a secondary. If the primary contract cannot handle the case, it goes to the secondary. So this bid is for the secondary public defender.
And then if there are conflicts even with either, then we have to bid it out.
Right,
Or
then
they
we have
just-
to go to court-appointed attorney.
Yeah.
Sutton Law Offices is the second, or is applying for the primary public defender contract. For 2019, they proposed $200,000. For 2020, they proposed $207,500. For 2021, $215,000. For 2022, $222,500.
And that is for, they have another additional member that has joined their law firm that also
Correct, yep.
is part of that.
There's also, he's also got some comments in his letter that I would suggest the state's attorney look over. And then the third proposal is also for the secondary contract. And he did not include enough years in his proposal. He only proposed from 2019 through 2021. The letter I sent out clearly states through 2022. For 2019, he proposed $51,500.
Who is this, Cindy?
Oh, I'm sorry, this is Wiles and Rylance. For 2020, he proposed $53,000, and for 2021, he proposed $54,500. But like I said, he did not propose for the third year, so I'm not sure that you can.
Can you give us that first year one more time? I think I got you.
2019 was $51,500.
Well, that was a lot less.
It is. My suggestion is that you postpone action on this for a week to, maybe you'll need to get together with the state's attorney and discuss this,
And
or discuss it among yourselves. I can make copies for you.
Make a motion to postpone this until next Tuesday, the September 25th.
We have a motion by Hatton to postpone it until next Tuesday,
I'll second it.
and a second by Gable. Any discussion? I'd like to,
Because when does this
Like
go
to have,
into effect?
Becky take
January
a-
1.
Okay.
So we
January
got
1.
time.
Yeah.
Becky, take a look at these. Appreciate that. All right. Any discussion? Any discussion? See none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries, and we will postpone it until next week. All right. Number 16, provisional budget hearing. We do allow time for, still public input, right?
Yes, this is a public hearing, so anyone who is present may
Anyone out
address
in
the
audience
budget.
that has any questions about the proposed budget for 2019? Speak up or forever hold your peace. Is
We
there
have
anyone out there?
one more week. Next week is another
Next
public
week,
hearing,
we
and
have
we
a public
adopt.
hearing plus adoption.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any last questions? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and carry on with it next week.
Mr. Chairman, can I just
Yes, go
review a
ahead,
couple
Lee.
things we started talking about 2 weeks ago at the last meeting? I had some thoughts on budget amounts, mostly regarding the remodel and stuff related to it. And based on our discussion last week, I put it on the screen there for people to see. This is similar to what the handout that we had last time. But A couple things on the remodel. We're probably not going to spend all the money that we pulled from the Future Building Projects Fund and applied to the budget, because some of that billing is going to take place next year. So essentially, we need to budget for those bills that are likely to come in calendar year 2019. So that's just simply, effectively, what you're doing is moving some of the Future Building Projects funds that we applied to this year into next year's budget. And so that's just over 200,000. So that's
What's that number?
201,000. And so that is money that we don't think we're going to get billed this year, because the project is likely to finish right at the end of this calendar year. So we don't know exactly what day it's going to finish, but it's going to be about then. And so therefore, they're not going to be able to bill us. So essentially, that amount is 10%, roughly 10% of the cost plus 5% retainage of the construction cost, and then 5% retainage for the architectural and engineering fees. So just to make sure we have that in the budget. So Future Building Projects Fund. So that's not taxes, but that's money that's been saved over the years. And then the same would go for the fire alarms and the sprinklers that we've been talking about that have come along as a result of meeting fire code requirements. The other thing, so those would all be Future Building Projects Fund expenses as well. You recall the CCJAC, so the Justice Advisory Committee recommended a pre-design, budgeting for a pre-design consultation for a future jail. And so I lowered those amounts a little bit, kind of based on the sense I got from last week, or the discussion 2 weeks ago. So for the fire alarms, the sprinklers, and the pre-design, those amounts are a little bit lower. Furniture as well. So, and that's judicial systems. That's something we kind of budget for a little bit loosely. It's a hard item to predict, but as a result of the remodel, there's probably going to be a few items that we're going to need. So I wanted to address that. And then I'll just explain the scribbles at the bottom of this sheet. Let me show you something else really quick here, if you'll indulge me, just to give people an idea of what's going on. So Cindy provided me with the previous budget, so you could go through and see what's happening. If you look at the 2018 budget, you'll see that kind of bright blue number that's larger. That's the government or general government part of the budget. So that's a broad category within the budget, and you see that number's higher, and that's because of the remodel, because the buildings or the government buildings is within the general government part of the budget. So that's 2018, and then there's two 2019s at the end. So the